So, welcome to this ASMR video. My name is Julian Assange, and I wish to welcome you to this cool, rather informative ASMR video. I'm just going to read you the history of WikiLeaks, and we're just gonna relax together. The embassy has been pretty welcoming of me of late, and I've been a bit of a naughty boy skateboarding in the aisles at night, and rubbing my cat's feces on the wall of the dining room. But why the fuck won't this work? Yeah, I'm just going to tell you about the history of WikiLeaks. I should have actually rigged this up before I started recording, but I think the main aspect that people find relaxing about my voice is the thinking before saying things, and really having that space in between to process what I'm going to say next. It's a very articulate way of speaking, and the Australian accent leads more to it, because it's just such a weird accent. Usually you find most Australians to be drunk larrikins, or bush people working on the bush, or like Crocodile Dundee. We're not all down here wrestling crocodiles in the outback. We are very intelligent too. But personally, I used to watch this show called Question Time back in the Howard era of politics, and it was very interesting to watch, mainly because it was so funny, and I used to laugh at the politicians calling each other stupid insults. Oh, sorry. WikiLeaks is an international non-profit organisation that publishes secret information, news leaks, and classified media provided by anonymous sources. Its website, initiated in 2006 in Iceland by the organisation Sunshine Press, claims a database of 10 million documents in 10 years since its launch. Julian Assange, an Australian internet activist, is generally described as its founder and director. Since September 2018, Kristen Fransson has served as its editor-in-chief. The group has released a number of prominent document dumps. Early releases include documentation of equipment, expenditures and holdings in the Afghanistan war, and a report informing a corruption investigation in Kenya. In April 2010, WikiLeaks released the collateral murder footage from the 12th of July 2007 Baghdad airstrike, in which Iraqi journalists were among those killed. Other releases in 2010 included the Afghan War Diary and the Iraq War Logs. The latter allowed the mapping of 109,032 deaths in significant attacks by insurgents in Iraq that had been reported to multinational force Iraq, including about 15,000 that had not been previously published. In 2010, WikiLeaks also released the US State Department diplomatic cables, classified cables that had been sent to the US State Department. In April 2011, WikiLeaks began publishing 779 secret files relating to prisoners detained in Guantanamo Bay. During the 2016 US presidential election campaign, WikiLeaks released emails and other documents from the Democratic National Committee and from Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta. These releases caused significant harm to the Clinton campaign and have been attributed as a potential contributing factor to her loss. The US Intelligence Committee expressed high confidence that the leaked emails had been hacked by Russia and supplied to WikiLeaks, while WikiLeaks denied their source was Russia or any other state. During the campaign, WikiLeaks promoted conspiracy theories about Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. Well, of course, she's a lizard. Anyone can see that. An ailing lizard. In private conversations from November 2015 that were later leaked, Julian Assange expressed a preference for a GOP victory in the 2016 election, explaining that Dems plus media plus Liberals would then form a bloc to reign in their worst qualities. With Hillary in charge, GOP will be pushing for her worst qualities. Dems plus media plus neoliberals will be mute. In private correspondence with the Trump campaign on Election Day, WikiLeaks encouraged the Trump campaign to contest the election results in case they lost. Which is, I never knew this. WikiLeaks has drawn criticism from its absence of whistleblowing on or criticism of Russia, and for criticizing the Panama Papers expose of businesses and individuals with offshore bank accounts. WikiLeaks has also been criticized for inadequately curating its content and violating the personal privacy of individuals. WikiLeaks has, for instance, revealed social security numbers, media information, credit card numbers, and details of suicide attempts. Let's get to my biography, because that's probably the most interesting thing. I grew up in New South Wales, and we travelled around a lot in Australia. There was a lot going on with my mother. She would, I didn't have a dad, so my mother would transport us around a lot and get us into crazy situations. And my real name is Julian Paul Hawkins, and I was born in Townsville in Queensland, Australia. But the probably weirdest bit in my life that probably fucked me up for good was when my parents divorced Christine Assange, my mother, then became involved with Leif Mennel, also known as Leif Hamilton, a member of Australian cult The Family, with whom she had a son before the couple broke up in 1982. Just let's look at how deranged The Family is, and if you can find the 60 Minutes episode with investigating. It's very dark, and you'll have nightmares for good. The Family, also called the Santiniketan Park Association and the Great White Brotherhood, is an Australian New Age group formed in the mid-1960s under the leadership of yoga teacher Anne Hamilton-Byrne, born Evelyn Edwards in 1921. Well, she must be dead by now. The group's headquarters was raided by the police on Friday, 14th August 1987, and all children were removed from the premises. In June 1993, Hamilton-Byrne was charged with conspiracy to defraud and commit perjury by falsely registering the births of 3 unrelated children as their own triplets. Well, this has nothing to do with anything. But they treated all the kids had their hair bleached blonde. The children were kept in really segregated areas. They were tortured. The children were frequently dosed with psychiatric drugs, diazepam, haloperidol, chlorpromazine, nitrazepam, oxazepam, trifluril, whatever. On reaching adolescence, they were compelled to undergo an initiation involving LSD. While under the influence of the drug, the child would be left in a dark room, alone, apart from visits by Hamilton-Byrne or one of the psychiatrists from the group. Now that is fucked up. Oh, there's a film called The Family. It's a documentary. She might still be alive. And they're still trying to find a successor to her. So look up The Family, and it's a pretty crazy religious cult that I was associated with. Probably did a lot to help me in creating what I've become now. So thank you very much for watching this, and get me out of prison, please.
Mr. Speaker, I just heard the authentic voice of socialism interjecting. The former member of the president of the ACTU, Mr. Speaker, claiming credit for economic growth.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, let me remind the Parliament that 10 years ago,
the member for Melbourne is warned.
We didn't talk about surplus budget.
The Leader of the Opposition has the call.
Mr. Speaker, this is the first sitting
of the Parliament in this year.
And that this
Parliament
sits at a time when the mood
of the Australian people can best be
summarised
as a mood
of total uncertainty
and
total
bewilderment
verging
on anger
and frustration.
and
today, We have been treated from the Prime Minister with a prime example of why that need exists in the Australian community. If ever a man has demonstrated before the National Forum of the Australian...
Hey. Smoke weed every day.
We train young men to drop fire on people, but their commanders won't allow them to write fuck on their airplane because it's obscene.
I'm gonna bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care.
When you control the mail, you control information.
This is imagination. And they are mine. Discovery. Mine. Professor Connor. Professor Connor.
Are you excited?